Can commissioners please check in?
Good evening, welcome. I'd like to call to order the Butte-Silver Council of Commissioners Committee of the Whole meeting for Wednesday, February 14th. Clerk, can we have,
One presiding, 10 present, one absent.
please let the record show that Commissioner Anderson is excused. Commissioner Sorich, will you lead us in the prayer and the pledge?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners. Almighty God, we implore you, look upon us and guide us this night as we make decisions which will greatly affect our community of Butte-Silver. Direct our thoughts, words, and deeds so that we please you and best serve our fellow citizens. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Sorich. I will now call for public comment on any items on the agenda. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, my name is Fritz Daly. I live at 100 East Broadway. There, a little better. Anyhow, my name is Fritz Daly, and again, I live at 100 East Broadway here in Butte, Montana. I'm here tonight. I guess you guys are going to put this off for a little bit, but I'm here tonight to support my friend John McKee and his effort to what I would describe as to what he's told me to have the largest liquor distillery this side of the Mississippi River located here in Butte, Montana. And I'm just here to support him, and I think it's what he's done is really a great accomplishment, and I think it's a great distinction for our community as well. I think that John is truly one of Butte's best entrepreneurs, without question. And I describe John kind of like the Copper Kings, the former Copper Kings of Butte. And that's what John is. And the only difference between John and the former Copper Kings is John wants to keep his money here in Butte, Montana, and not spend it elsewhere like the Arco and British Columbia and the rest have done and over the years, the Anaconda Company. And John actually reminds me, I was thinking about this today, and John actually reminds me of my great friend Don Peoples, and I did a lot of work with Don Peoples over the year. He's a great friend of mine, and And his goal was always to make Butte the can-do city and to make it the most livable city in America. And I worked with him a lot to do that. And I served 7 terms in the Montana legislature. I'm lifelong resident, proud lifelong resident of Butte. I'm just here to offer my 100% support to John. I know you guys got a couple things you need to look at, and I accept that and understand that. But John's a good man, and he and Courtney are great entrepreneurs, and we should be proud of them, and we should be proud to support him and to do what he's trying to do. So that's why I'm here, and I just urge you to support my friend John. This is kind of a smart remark. I promise I won't go over 3 minutes. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. Any other comments on any items on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Report of the chair, I just want to welcome our esteemed guests representing Sonata, who traveled all the way here from Norway and have been hanging out in Butte and getting to know the people. I hope they've had a great visit so far, and safe travels coming back. And that's going to lead us into Section 1, bid openings, public hearings, and/or presentations. 1, communication number 2024-39, Kristen Rosa, Economic Development Coordinator, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization for time on February 14th, 2024, Committee of the Whole meeting for a presentation regarding Sonata and their manufacturing equipment tax abatement application.
Thank you, Chair Frederickson and Commissioners. So this isn't going to be a typical presentation. We don't have any PowerPoint slides. Nothing really has changed since Olav, who gave the presentation a while back, has changed about Sonata. Their timeline has changed a little bit, and hopefully you've all had a chance to read the communication I put in that was in coordination with Sonata regarding the current process they're under. As you know, this is part of the tax abatement request. In 2 weeks, we will hold a public hearing where people can come and speak in favor of this tax abatement. And so this really is an opportunity for you to ask questions. We do have Dr. Eric Sauer here that will answer questions regarding this project. So I guess I would say that if anybody has questions of me, please feel free, and if not, we can have Dr. Sauer come up and answer.
Yeah, would you like to have them come up and
Sure.
introduce them, if that's okay with them? Oh, there you are.
Yes, Chairman Frederickson and Commissioners, I'm Erik Sauer, manager of CNATE from Norway. We are a company 6, 7, 8 years old, owned by the founders, but also the Government Climate Fund of Norway, and 2 of the largest renewable energy companies of Norway, and one of the world's largest silicon producers, which is also a Norwegian company. And we are developing a new material to go into electric car batteries that will make the car battery lighter and smaller, so the driving range goes up, and the batteries also get cheaper for the consumer. And this material that we make will go into the typically battery factories that again then will put the batteries into the automotive car factories.
Okay. Are there any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson. I don't really have a question. I just wanted to give you a nice warm welcome. I hope that you are enjoying Butte and seeing all that we have to offer. We look forward to hopefully working with you guys in the future. So I just didn't want to leave you up there standing. We feel very fortunate to have you here, and we're very grateful for your knowledge and your time. So thank you.
Anything else? I guess I'll just ask, do you have any idea when you're going to make a decision on where the location will be?
Yes, as we wrote or guided in the letter, and we are now going through the permitting processes. They will take time. At the end of the permitting processes, that will fit well with our technical and commercial progress. So that's a short year from now is the ambition when all the permits or the difficult permits are passed.
Thank you. Thanks for coming to Butte, and I had a chance to meet these guys earlier, and just thanks for coming in, and I wish you the safest travels back. Yeah, thank you.
No, thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure to meet all the staff here. It's been very helpful. Thank you.
All right. Moving on, communication number 2024-40, Karen Burns, Community Development Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization for time on February 14th, 2024, Committee of the Whole Council meeting for a presentation on the Butte-Silver Bow Self-Evaluation and Transition Plan 2024 update. Director Burns.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson, members of council. I am Karen Burns, Director of Community Development. So thank you for your time tonight. James Olette and I will be tag teaming this brief presentation to you. We kind of wanted to give you an update as to where we are with our self-evaluation and transition plan. Attached to your agenda, to this agenda item, there was a document that is dated 2018, I believe. And so this is the document that we've been using as our self-evaluation and transition plan. The supplement to this document is a spreadsheet that kind of lists all of Butte-Silver Bow's facilities. And so with that said, I want to say that this is an important document for Butte-Silver Bow, and we very much need to engage in an update of this document. This document not only guides us in terms of what we need to do with our own facilities in terms of accessibility, but it also is a very important document for any federal funding that we might receive through pass-through grants from federal agencies to the state of Montana or to us or directly to us. We are required to show that we have an active and updated transition plan on file. And you know, the plan was updated in a sense in 2018 that allowed us to check that box on these federal funding applications, but we've now been notified that we really need to do more. And I agree we should do more. It's important for our community. It's important for our local government to have this document in place and actually use it. And so we're in the process of evaluating how we'll get that done. James and I are working together on that and have set up a committee of Butte-Silver Bow employees to work on that. Just to give you an idea of how important it is, right now we've received funding through HUD, the Department of HUD, and that funding totals $3.5 million in grants that have been funded. That this plan is key. We have to show we have this plan. So being on notice that we need to update this is really important for any future funding that we can bring into our local government and our community. So I just wanted to give you an idea of the importance of this plan and why we'd want to try to delve into a major overhaul, and not overhaul like throw it completely out, but a major overhaul and update to this plan. And so I'm going to turn it over to James Olette to kind of give you an idea of what that would look like. And so I will, my esteemed colleague James, please join me and show him what we're going to do.
Okay. Hello, Chairperson, Committee of the Whole. Do I say Committee of the Whole? It's my first time. My partner's a lobbyist, and he like prepped me. He's like, "This is what you say." I got up here, and I'm like, "I remember nothing." So that's how this presentation is going to go. Anyways, thank you guys so much for having us. My name's James. I started working here at Butte-Silver Bow in June 2023. When I was 10 years old, I was diagnosed with a disability, and it was a lot of testing and a lot of evaluations and going through all that process. But it really opened my eyes when I started to access special education through my school, because I started to work with other people with disabilities. And we kind of formed our own group of community. And from there, after high school, I started working for the Canadian Deaf Blind Association. So I was a blind deaf intervener. I know American Sign Language. Eventually went into respite work and working with people who are HIV positive, and then people with a substance use disorder as well, I was an opioid public health crisis trainer in Indiana before I moved out here, and then I got into more public health and then safety and health, and then I was hired here to be the safety and health coordinator at Butte-Silver in June. Around that time, they were looking for a new ADA coordinator, and I reached out to Beth and to Chief Executive Gallagher, and I said, you know, I've worked in this community, I'm a part of this community, I have a disability, and there's a thing we say in the disability community that no decision about us without us. And so I just like to thank you guys so much and thank Chief Executive Gallagher for having someone that kind of has the history, but also the experiences that I have to be in a position like this, because people with disabilities have to be driving and being a part of these decisions. So let's get into the transition plan. 1990, the ADA, or the federal government passed the ADA Act, required all governments to do a self-evaluation of all their services and do a transition plan. That is located in 7 binders in Beth Worm's office if anybody wants to see it. It's pretty outdated. From that transition plan, we have made summaries, but we have never actually revisited that 1993 original transition plan. So when I got here, one of the first things Chief Executive Gallagher had me do was to make sure that we are in complete compliance with the ADA. So that was our ADA committee, getting that up to some of our public meeting laws, getting a grievance procedure in place, getting more online communication. So there's now an ADA resource hub where lots of documents are, all those good things. Out of that kind of looking and investigation, I brought up to Chief Executive Gallagher and the ADA management team about this transition plan. I said, I read it, most of it. It's very long. And some of the buildings aren't even the same as you guys can imagine, Butte's changed in 30 years. So I provided them at the end of the year with a summary of all that, and we put a work group together with Karen and Roads Department, and we're planning on kind of going through that transition plan step by step and seeing what we can be doing and redoing another self-evaluation. We're looking at working with consultants for this because the work is a lot, and there are a lot of things in question, like public right-of-ways, emergency services. We examine programs, facilities, activities, so there's many steps to it. Plus, we have a historic preservation district, so there's lots of intricate work with that. And in Butte, we also have DOT roads. So the DOT just updated their transition plan a couple years ago. That's available on their website, which is really fantastic. Also, if you guys want to look at, the city of Helena did theirs in 2019, I believe, and it's really important. The really three things that are really important with this is that the transition plan is approved by the commission, that it is filed with the clerk and recorder, and that it is accessible both here in Butte and online. Those 3 things are incredibly important once we get this together. So if you have any questions.
So thank you for coming up. I did not know any of these documents existed, so thank you. Probably my only question is, what are the next steps for getting this updated, and what is your timeline?
I'm just going to turn to the page that says next steps.
Prepared.
Okay, so
like
next steps is finalizing consultant selection. So completing an RFP with Karen and trying to see on what kind of money that we have, which funds are available, what can get matched out there for us to get there. And then we also want to do a big public engagement initiative. So part of this transition plan is having kind of open forums, hearing from the public. The transition plan, obviously consultants can come in and we can do all like the measurements and those things, but there's nothing more valuable than the experience of people with disabilities in this community. And to hear from them on what ways we can incorporate is really important. And then initiating the implementation phases after that. So once we have the consultant, we have the public engagement forums, then we'll be able to start kind of seeing how we're going to implement this. As for timeline, timeline. This project is ambitious yet realistic in its timeline. It spans, and it will span for the next 5 years is a realistic goal. And a transition plan is just a starting point too on how we're going to transition. There may be things that come in through that transition plan that might take 5 or 10 years to get to that end goal, depending on money, depending on resources and things like that. So, but we hope to have these binders all said and done from every services in the next 5 years. That's just an estimate though.
Okay. Commissioner Reardon and then Commissioner Sorich.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson. I really like this idea, and I think with you in this position and all that, it is, you know, the old saying, you have to walk the walk and know the talk. And I think that we've needed this for quite a while, and with the history of the buildings and all that stuff. And I got a lot of good vibes off you with your energy and your interest and all that. So I think this is good, and it should happen, number one, for the grants. And number two, with your input. Like I said, nobody knows till you've been there. And I've always been a big supporter of the ADA and all that, especially in this community, being a senior community as such. But I'm really impressed with you, and that doesn't mean nothing. I'm not. But, you know, it's a good hire, it's a good position, and it's a good energy level that you have. And thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Sorich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Ouellette, for being here. And I'm going to echo our Commissioner Reardon's. I'm looking at the self-evaluation summary. Are you going to, it appears to me that there's some places that are not on the list. So I'm assuming you're going to go through and check all of them. And also one of them would be, you know, I know Parks and Recs work real hard at, you know, trying to make everything ADA. And is that going to be part of your summary plan also?
Yeah. So right now what I'm doing is I'm going to every department and we're isolating an ADA liaison. So each department that is in Butte-Silver Bow, even if they don't have a huge, like our water people, they still have to appoint someone to have an ADA liaison for that department. That's going to have direct contact with that person. So yes, every department, service, program, and activity, and that includes our partnerships with our festivals.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from commissioners? All right. Thank you, Mr. Ouellette, for coming. Looks like you're not going far.
No, thank you guys.
All right. 3, communication number 2024-59. Karen Malachny, BSB Health Officer, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization for time on the February 14th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting for a presentation from James Ouellette, Safety and Health Coordinator, and Karen Malachny for an update on the Health Department harm reduction program offered at the BSB Health Department. Health Officer Malachny, welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Frederickson, members of council, and thank you for time on the agenda this evening. A couple of weeks ago, I guess it was just last week, we had a presentation at the archives that allowed staff members, department heads, and a couple other people to learn about harm reduction services that Butte-Silver Bow offers. And that was a 2.5-hour presentation. So I highlighted some of the more important things that I thought was relevant, and I put it into a PowerPoint, and I just thought I'd bring that here for you today. So I hope I don't go too fast. And I hope I know how to work down there. And me and technology just does not work. Okay, got to turn it the right way. Okay, there you go. So first of all, I want to give a big thank you to Dr. Lindsay Benesh. She's the associate professor out of Montana State University in Missoula, and Rebecca Ramos, she's the executive director of Open Aid Alliance, and James Ouellette, safety and health coordinator of Butte-Silver Bow. Without their input, they contributed so much to this program that you'll see why, but it's extremely enhanced from them. So during this presentation, we'll define harm reduction, look at the evidence and harm reduction in Butte-Silver Bow, and where the program is going to go from here. So I'm going to look at my slides because some of my words are cut off. So what is harm reduction? So harm reduction really, in essence, is meeting people where they're at and keeping them safe. It's not necessarily, it's health care. It's health care for people where the rubber meets the road. It's not necessarily health care as you would think of for you or I, but for people who have an addiction or an illness that they have no control over sometimes, it's actually protecting them from dying. And you can see this slide, all of the different supports that harm reduction programs have. The medical community, drug community, scientific community, these programs have a ton of support. And so why do these programs work? When people come to the health department for care, we don't judge them. And I think that's one of the main reasons that they work. We don't, when they walk through the door, they walk through there and they just get treated as they are. People are more likely to enter treatment when they have enter an SSP program. People who inject drugs are 5 times more likely to enter treatment when they are in an SSP program. They're 3 times more likely to stop injecting drugs if they're in an SSP program. And if they're in an SSP, they're 70% more likely to quit using substances. They have more motivation to quit using substances. And they have a 48% high confidence in ability to do so. So being in an SSP program, it's almost like, the best way I can describe it is, they're not in a dead-end street anymore. It's like they're in a cul-de-sac with options. They're not in a dead-end street. They have people that care. So how do we actually prevent overdose? So SSP programs, naloxone, MAC clinic services, and the Good Samaritan laws are the 4 basic ways that we do that. So this slide is pretty telling. If you look at in Philadelphia, where the mayor actually authorized an SSP program in 1993, the red line is the actual new HIV cases, but the forecasted new HIV cases is the blue line. But where that red line, just the vertical line, goes down, that's where the syringe program actually, and the HIV cases went down. So had that syringe service program not been implemented, those HIV cases would have kept climbing. So I think that one's a pretty good slide. So this is the evidence for public safety. This one shows that it does not, some people think that SSP programs increase crime, violence, resisting officers, but this study says that that doesn't happen. Some people think that if we have an SSP program that you'll find more syringes in parks or public places. This study says, no, that's not the case. So that's more evidence for that. So some of the statistics that were not presented at the last week that I thought was important for you all to hear is in Butte. Butte is one of 4 SSPs in Montana. The others are Polson, Kalispell, and Billings. The one in Butte started in 2020, and at that time our clinic had a handful of clients. And when you think what happened in 2020, I just think of SARS-CoV-2, masks, and social distancing. I didn't really know anything about the SSP program, even though I was in the same building as it was happening. So there was really no opportunity to educate people on the hows and the whys of SSPs. There was no ability to tell people that their crime rates don't go up syringes you don't find extra syringes in parks because of them. So we ran the program out of the health department for the last 3 years, but fast forward to the end of 2023, we realized at that time that the program outgrew us. Staffing, our clientele started to outgrow the number of people of staff that we had. We were seeing upwards of 88 to 90 clients a week. It was too much. So we put a pause on the program, and you can see some of the data from 2020. This is just the number of naloxone distributed from that year, and the number of self-reported naloxones that were used was 80. The age breakdown of the clients that used the program, more males than females, and the substance of choice was meth that year. And then for 2022, the same, but the naloxone distributed went up to 2,763. The age breakdown was between 36 and 45, so a little bit higher in that category. So for Butte-Silver Bow, so far we don't have 2023's data collected or tallied just yet, but the majority of the people who use our services are individuals who are male between the ages of 36 and 45. We've distributed 3,339 doses of naloxone, not including 2023, and that's just in the clinic. That is not out when we've gone and done presentations elsewhere. 134 of those individuals have reported using naloxone. 95,836 syringes were distributed. That was including the 2023 data. But we've collected 122,000 dirty syringes. And that's an approximate number because we can't count exactly. So if you look at our regular services, what they include, we provide care and support to clients without making assumptions or passing judgment. Sterile needle syringes, other injection equipment, Narcan safe disposal containers for needles and syringes, hepatitis, hep C, syphilis testing, education, and linkage to care, safe injection practices and education, including overdose prevention, referral to substance use treatment, including medication-assisted treatment, risk reduction counseling, referrals to mental health and social services, and tools to prevent HIV, STD, and HCV, including harm reduction counseling and education. But what we want to do, and after 2023, we realized that we needed an enhanced, extensive safety and health program for staff, and that's where James and his team really came in. They came in like a knight on shining armor because bloodborne pathogen training, making sure staff is safe first and foremost, because without them as the frontline workers, we don't have a program. So he took care of all of that. We have program manuals, MAC clinic services, behavioral health services, wound care, assessment and treatment, syringe disposal boxes in the community, robust testing for treatment services for STIs, our clinic days and hours to fit the needs of the community. Our clinic days and hours were just 1 day a week for 3 hours a day. We would like a hotline for the community to be able to report found syringes so we can actually have staff go pick them up, and then have a program that other communities in Montana can actually replicate. This morning we had, at the Board of Health meeting, we got a grant that can actually go about 10 years, and it's upwards of $200,000 now, but it can continue to go if we meet certain metrics. So there is funding out there to do all of this. And so there's just a couple more stats that I want to give you that I pulled before I left. In Yellowstone County, they have a population of 165,000 people, and in 2022, all drug overdose deaths were 17.6 deaths per 100,000 people. That averaged out to 28 deaths. Missoula County has a population of 117,000 people, and that's 17.2 per 100,000, which is 22 deaths. For 2022, Butte, with 35,000 population, we had 55.4 per 100,000, which is 21 deaths. So, I mean, for Butte to have 35,000 people and 21 deaths, and Yellowstone to have 28. You can see the need for these kind of services because people need help. And with the statistics that people have a better chance of getting help if they're in an SSP program, I think we have a chance of actually, if we expand these services to meet the needs of the community, we have a better chance of helping some of these individuals. So.
All right. Wow. Okay. Thank you for that eye-opening presentation. I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Can you remind us or remind me maybe when everyone else does, what naloxone is?
So it's another name for Narcan.
Oh, okay, it is. Okay.
They're just interchangeable.
And maybe explain what Narcan is, I would think that everyone knows, but just.
So if you use drugs and it works on certain drugs but not all, but if you overdose, then you can use it to reverse a drug overdose. And what they're instructed to do is use the buddy system. So you use drugs together, and then you always have a friend. And so if your friend overdoses, you can administer the drug to the friend.
Okay.
So it's a safety net for each other.
Okay. And just to follow up on that, Commissioner Shea brought up a box of Narcan up here, and it disappeared. I don't really know where it went, but hopefully it went somewhere where, not the garbage or something. But how available is Narcan now? If I remember right, it was. Are you guys? Let me back up. Are you distributing Narcan for free, or is it something that you can pick up at a?
We have a master trainer that will come and train anybody, but we distribute it for free. Anybody can come to the health department, pick it up anytime, no questions asked. They just can come and get it.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up to questions for the commissioners. Commissioner Reardon.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson. I was noticing today I had some business uptown, and there was a van on Galena Street that had an outdoor medical deal going with that. Is that more or less connected to this program that you have now, or is that a different situation?
So that, Commissioner Frederickson, Commissioner Reardon, that is our partnership with Community Health Center. So it's more meeting people where they're at. So anybody can use that healthcare service.
Right.
Can be homeless, really anybody. It doesn't have to be for syringe service program.
That was pretty impressive to see. That was the first time I seen it out there, and especially in the weather, those gals were out there and all that stuff. So it was, and I agree, especially with the districts and Central Butte and all that, with the drug problem we have. Naturally, it's all over. Everybody has it, but I think that this would be something that we should definitely pursue and get on board with, and really take a drive toward it. And I appreciate your effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And please come back, in a year and give us an update.
Sure.
All right. Section 2, Communications. 1, communication number 2023-614. Amy Steinmetz, Montana DEQ, requesting Council of Commissioners for time on the January 17, 2024 agenda for Dave Bowers to discuss the follow-up response work to address flooding damage at Montana Pole and answer questions that commissioners may have. We had that presentation from Mr. Bowers on the 17th. Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would make a motion to place communication number 2023-614 on file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Would commissioners please vote? Clerk, will you record the vote?
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Motion passes. 2, communication number 2024-28, Julie Jackshaw, Butte Food Co-op Board requesting Council of Commissioners authorization for time on the February 7th, 2024 council meeting for a presentation to share information regarding the Butte Food Co-op and answer any questions. We had that presentation on the 7th. Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would make a motion to place communication number 2024-28 on file.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Please vote. Clerk, will you record the vote?
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Motion passes. 3, communication number 2024-39, Kristen Rosa, Economic Development Coordinator, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization for time on the February 14th, 2024 Committee of the Whole Council meeting for a presentation regarding Sonata and their manufacturing equipment tax abatement application. We had that discussion earlier tonight. Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would make a motion to place communication number 2024-39 on file.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Would commissioners please vote? Clerk, will you record the vote?
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yea, 0 nay. 11 yea, 0 nay. Motion passes. 4, communication number 2024-40, Karen Burns, Community Development Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization for time on February 14th, 2024, Committee of the Whole Council meeting for a presentation on Butte-Silver Self-Evaluation and Transition Plan 2024 update. We just had that. Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would make a motion to place communication number 2024-40 on file.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Would commissioners please vote? Clerk, will you record the vote?
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yea, 0 nay. Motion passes. Motion passes. 5, communication number 2024-53, Kristen Rosa, Economic Development Coordinator, requesting Council of Commissioners permission to schedule a public hearing on February 28th, 2024, to receive comment on a proposed tax abatement under SB 530 enacted by the 2023 legislature, which allows for either an 80%, 90%, or 100% tax abatement on business equipment. We will hold that for the public hearing on February 28th. 6, communication number 2024-59, Karen Malachny, BSB Health Officer, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization for time on the February 14th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting for a presentation from James Ouellette, Safety and Health Coordinator, for an update on the Health Department harm reduction program offered at the BSB Health Department. We just had that presentation from Health Officer Malachny. Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would make a motion to place communication number 2024-59 on file.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Commissioners, please vote. Clerk will record the vote.
11 yea, 0 nay.
11 yea, 0 nay. Motion passes. Motion passes. 7, communication number 2024-65, Mark Neary, Public Works Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a bid opening for February 28, 2024 for the Excelsior Avenue reconstruction Phase 2 for the Roads Division. We'll hold that for the bid opening on February 28th. 8, communication number 2024-66, Mark Neary, Public Works Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a bid opening for February 21st, 2024 for a Vector truck for the Metro Division. We will hold that for the bid opening on the 21st. 9, communication number 2024-67, Jim Keenan, Water Plant Superintendent, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a bid opening for February 21st, 2024 for supply liquid aluminum sulfate to be used at the BSB water and wastewater treatment plants. We will hold that for the February bid opening. 10, communication number 2024-71, JP Gallagher, Chief Executive, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to have Chief Executive Gallagher sign a second amended lease. The lease outlines the expanded premises of the Kelly Warehouse Commercial Building and increase to the lease fee structure. We spoke about this last week. This is in regard to Head Frame Manufacturing and their lease agreement with the Kelly Warehouse. We're going to hold this for the time being. Mr. McKee was out of town, and the county attorney's department and him have not been able to get together to discuss. So no discussion tonight, and we will hold this likely for a discussion next week or the next committee of the whole meeting. Okay. I will now ask for public comment on any public matter not on the agenda. Okay, seeing none, I will, Commissioner Mankins.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson. I just have a quick question, and I don't know if Chief Executive Gallagher or someone, I know that we did concerning the fire study. I know we did a fire study not too long ago. Well, it's been quite a while ago. I didn't know if we had any results back from that, or the name of the people that did the fire advisory, and maybe if they were planning on coming back to do some kind of a presentation.
Yeah, Chief Executive Gallagher.
Thank you, Chairman Frederickson and Commissioner Mankins. So that fire study, they're at 80% of finished completion of that. They have sent out the fire study to, I've received a copy. Fire Chief Osborne has received it, and then they are sending it out to each of the volunteer chiefs as well to review and look over to see if there's any mistakes within the study. So that's where they're at. They will come back and present to this full body the results of that, but they send it back out. All that I know that as I've looked through it, what they're looking at is just any kind of inaccuracies that are depicted in there about facilities, equipment, things like that. It's not to revise it or to do anything different that way, but it also is allowing, right now, I know they're sending that out to all of the volunteer fire chiefs for them to review as well on that 80%. Once they get that feedback back, I believe they will be back here at the end of March, early April to present that fire study to the commission.
Okay, great. Thank you for that update. Good question, Commissioner Mankins.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher, and that will be from the fire advisory. What was the name of the company, or can you recall offhand?
Chairman Frederickson, Commissioner Mankins, I do not have the name offhand of what the company is, but they will be the ones to come back and present to this body.
Okay. I will now ask for a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye.